cut this off. Could somebody make a free throw? One time,
Kyle.
like what? One.
Just one.
Can I get? If you go to the line 32 times, can I get 75%? Can they make 3 out of 4 free throws? If the Sacramento Kings hit 75% of their free throws, which is not good, by the way, 75% from the line is bad. That is down near the bottom of the league. The Kings for the season are 73.3% going into last night. Worse now somehow. If they shoot 75%, that is mid as hell. If they shoot 75%, they win that game last night. If they make 6 additional free throws out of the 32 they got, by the way, I'm not asking you to make 30. I didn't even ask you to make 28, 24 of them. I need 3 out of 4. They win that game last night. This is 2 games now. Out of the last 4, and free throws have been a problem all year. You said it. We were sitting at a game at Golden One Center, and you went, you know what? I can tell when they're going to have a bad game based on how they shoot their first few free throws.
Yep.
This is a problem. Figure it out.
Kyle's heated. I'll say this,
dude.
Kyle. I think the one thing, there are so many things in sports that we can say, oh, well, I would have done it. Like, no. You would not have been able to run over the middle and catch that touchdown pass.
No doubt.
No, you would not have been able to go up and dunk that ball.
Right.
No, you would not have hit the 3-point shot to win it at the buzzer. You would have not done it. You could not have dove down over the third base bag, got up and gunned a guy at first base. That would not have happened.
Right.
But so many people could step to a free throw line and just maybe hit 75%.
You could accidentally hit 3 out of 4.
Yes.
Just bank them in. Shoot them Rick Barry style.
Yep.
Go granny shot with it. Dude, like, this is the thing. Look, we'll dig into why the Kings lost last night. We'll dig into their 4-game losing skid. We'll talk about the trade deadline. We'll talk about Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter, and we'll do De'Aaron Fox. We'll do all that. But at the core of this, the reason that they did not beat Phoenix came down to missed free throws. If they hit a couple free throws against Phoenix down the stretch, Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox each missed one.
Yep.
If they hit a couple free throws down the stretch, Phoenix is not able to win that game.
Didn't they miss free throws?
No, I'm sorry. Milwaukee.
It
was the Milwaukee game.
The Milwaukee
That's my
game.
fault.
Yeah, that's okay.
The Milwaukee game.
Yes.
They make a couple free throws. That game doesn't go to OT. They're not losing in OT. That's what it is. Last night, they make a couple more free throws. Maybe that game goes differently. And I know that that's not the thing. I know that there are so many elements to it. And like I said, we'll dig into everything. But on a basketball court, you get to step to the line with no defense and shoot a 15-footer.
It's just sitting there.
You have to make it. You have to make it. Not even, like I said, I'm not asking for anything crazy. I'm not asking for 95%. I'm not asking for 100%. I know that's unrealistic. You're going to miss sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But 18 out of 32? Is that 58% from professional basketball? Like, and this isn't the Pistons. This is a really freaking good basketball team.
Yeah, but
really freaking good players on it.
I'm telling you, man, it's such a red flag for this team. And I brought it up to you earlier. We had the moment with Harrison Barnes early, and I just went back and looked. It was a Detroit game, right? Right in the first second of the game, Harrison Barnes gets the ball. He's not part of the offense, but all of a sudden he is. He gets the ball. He attacks the rim. He flings it out to the corner for an open 3. They miss the 3, but they come back down the next possession. He gets the ball again, races right to the rack, goes up for a layup, gets fouled, goes to the free throw line, misses 2 free throws. The Kings are still scoreless, like 2 minutes into the game, misses 2 free throws. They go on to give 47 points in that first quarter. That's what I mean. You can see it. There's something with the focus of this team early in games, often where you know it. And if they start missing them early, they're going to miss them all night long. And that's, again, you just lost 2 games because of free throw shooting. Yeah. Straight up. I mean, you did.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Some of these guys are career 80-something% free throw shooters. Some of them aren't great free throw shooters. I mean, De'Aaron Fox has never been a great free throw shooter.
Sure.
I think he shot 78% last year. What's he shooting? 71, 72% right now?
Yeah.
It's just like whatever the focus is. I know that they've done nothing but shoot free throws at practice the last couple of days. It's been like a super, super hot button issue with this team, and they're working on it.
Right.
But what it really comes down to, it's not a mechanical issue. It's somebody's got the yips. Like as a team, they have the yips. And I'm not sure how you fix that on the fly, except for one day it's not going to be a problem. We're going to forget about it. And that's what free throw shooting should be. It's something that you shouldn't even worry about. It's like kicking an extra point in the NFL. Like you should make all of your extra points. Every once in a while, there could be a bad snap or you could slip. I'm talking one a year at the most, but more like one every 2 or 3 years you might miss.
Sure.
I don't know if you've ever kicked an extra point. It literally, you can just swing your leg through and put the ball through their uprights.
Yeah.
You don't need a step. You don't need anything. But it's such a basic thing. And when someone loses that ability, just like the Kings have lost their ability to make free throws, then it becomes a complete mental thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, you think Malik Monk wants to miss free throws?
Definitely not.
No, it's killing that guy
for sure.
He
8 of 17 from the free throw line his last 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, he took to Twitter after the first game and apologized.
Yes,
apologized, and then last night goes 1 of 6, including an opportunity to cut the lead down to what it was.
One.
Yeah,
it was 124, 121, and he missed both free throws.
Yeah, and the first one, you knew he needed to make the first and miss the second, right? Because it was down to the wire, and they needed to get a rebound, get the ball, get another shot up, right? But to miss the first one, it's just, again, he doesn't mean to. I know he doesn't. I know he wants with all of his heart to win a game, but it's the lack of focus in the moment that has become a problem with this team. And it's an overall, like, just an obvious, like, red flag every time they walk into a game.
So I think because you see guys doing their free throw routines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Giannis famously had the Suns crowd counting down in the finals a couple years back because he was taking so long. Michael Scott in the basketball episode of The Office very famously has this really long free throw thing. But you have a free throw routine because that's just what you do. You don't think about it and you shoot it. And sometimes it doesn't go in. It's like, oh, okay, that's weird. Okay, do my routine again. You just do it. But like you said, I don't know if at this point, like, I don't think Malik Monk missed free throws last night because of a lack of focus. I think it's what you mentioned earlier. Like, now it's a thing. Yeah. Now, instead of going to the line and going, okay, I'm going to do 2 dribbles. I'm going to spin it in my hands once. I'm going to bend my knees twice. And then I'm going to go into my shooting motion or whatever your routine is. Now it's, oh God, I have to make it. How do I do this? Okay, let's see. Another example here. We're just going to use examples. I used to live in an apartment complex, not to brag, but there was a gate code to get in. And when I forget what the code was, but I just remembered the pattern of that my hand needed to go in to hit the right buttons. And then one day I pulled up and I was doing something and I reached out for the thing and went, oh my God, I don't know the number. I couldn't get to like the pattern of my brain that I had just punched up. I didn't know that and so that's what I think is happening to Malik specifically, because he's a good free throw shooter. He's way better than he's been. And I think he's going to be fine. Overarching point about this, I don't think Malik Monk's going to shoot 50% from the line for the rest of the year. But in this space right now, I think Malik and maybe with some other players where they're getting to the line and it's like, okay, what do I do now? I have to make this free throw. And instead of just going through their routine, it's a whole thought process. It's going, okay, oh boy. Like, all right, I've already missed 3 tonight. I need to make this one. Instead of just going, all right, let's go. Like, yeah, you need to make them, but okay, I'm going to go through my routine. I've shot 10 million free throws in my life. Here's another one.
Yeah. I mean, for comparison, Malik shot 88.9% from the free throw line last year. He's at 81.4 right now. The year before that, he did shoot 79.5. It wasn't great, but last year with the Kings, 88.9. He's a career 84.4% shooter, and right now he's shooting 81.4. Like, in 3% might not seem that bad to people, but it's more like he's 7% off, almost 8% off what he averaged last year at the free throw line.
Yeah.
And I just think it's an overarching theme with this team that they're just a little bit off. And we saw it with Kevin Huerter for 6 weeks, where Kevin Huerter was in his own head shooting 3-point shots.
Yeah.
Just in his head. All of a sudden, it's not there anymore. He figured it out.
Goes down, a couple go down, and you're like, all right, I'm back.
It's not like he went out there and relearned how to shoot the 3-point shot, worked on it, every single day to make sure that he knew how to shoot a 3-point shot again. No, it came back.
I would bet with Huerter specifically while we're here, I would bet that there wasn't even like, okay, we're going to bring in a shooting coach and have you go through these drills to learn how to shoot again. Like it wasn't, I'm guessing it was just like, all right, shoot a bunch of shots until they start going in.
The Kings did that one year with Tyreek Evans. He brought in Keith Vaney, the shot doctor.
Oh, obviously.
And he worked with him on shooting the ball.
He faded away all the time.
In season, he would fade away with his upper body.
Yes.
So he would like lean back while he was shooting. It was very strange.
Yeah.
And again, if you ever talk to his brothers, they blamed it on his experience with Cal at Memphis. They said that Tyreek was a great 3-point shooter all the way through high school, like junior high, everything. He gets to Memphis and they took away the 3-point shot from him and then messed with him and wouldn't let him shoot it. And then when he did, he felt like self-conscious about it. And
weird.
Next thing you know, he got the yips. And then late in his career, you saw it. He was like a 39% shooter from 3. He was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But it took a long time to get there. And it took some focus and some mental coaching and everything else to get there. But yeah, this is just weird. It's weird to see a team that I think the expectations are catching up to them a bit. And right now they're making the little mistakes that they didn't make last year. And it just sticks out so egregiously. You just I see it, just right there in your face.
It is truly wild how different they're 23-18. The exact same mark they were at this point last year. 23-18 after 41 games. But last year, to get to 23-18, they were 20-18. They won 3 in a row as part of a 6-game winning streak. This year, they were 23-14, and they've now lost 4 in a row. And it's crazy how different the vibe is, because last year was like, man, light the freaking beam, and this is going to be a playoff team. This is about the time of year where it was like, oh, like they're for real. They're
legit.
Like this is the shoe's not going to drop. There's no second shoe to drop. This is a good team. So yeah, man, I don't think that, like I said, I don't think they're going to shoot 50% from the line for the rest of the year. And I honestly don't think that this is going to be something that, come playoff time, or I mean, at this rate, play in time, that we're going to be talking about. But in the midst of everything they have going on right now, all the things we talk about, the fact that 2 games out of these 4, it's been like, man, if they would knock down free throws, it would have gone a little different. It's very, very frustrating. So, all right, let's elevate this conversation. Let's get away from some of the free throws. We'll talk about that a little bit, but we have some other stuff to get to. And James, 6 quick thoughts. That's coming up next. We're with you till noon on The Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader.
Good work. Are they having a party behind you?
What's happening here?
Who's behind you?
I have no idea.
Are you sure you don't know?
Is that who I think it is?
I think that's who I think it is.
Why?
I don't know. I want to go say hi, though.
Do it, please. Find stuff out. Hey, you can't. He can't hear me. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. Man. What's up, David? I don't think they're going to lose 10 in a row. That'd be kind of wild, but yeah, dude, I really need to get something back there. It's just because, like I said, it's not that they're back there in the stream. Like I can just close this window or not this window, but like on the computer, I can close this browser window and just remove it so I don't see what's happening behind me. But it's the reflection in the window that I can just see a million things going on. And it's really, really distracting.
What was that?
Is a person just about to start working here or what?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Huh. Okay. Huh.
I don't know what the deal is. I
don't either, but I wouldn't be mad. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
So we were scrambling. Yeah, that's a lobby right behind me. So let's see if I can do this properly. So you see where Debo is standing here? That's not actually Debo Samuel, by the way. That's Rich Ripley. Rich.ripley@odyssey.com if you would like to sponsor the program or any segments. So this is Rich/Debo Samuel. Directly behind Rich is the front door. So when people walk in the office, they walk straight through here, and then over yonder is the kitchen and like a shared workspace. And then if you go left here instead of right, that's where like all the salespeople and promotions people. It's like an open office concept. You can also over here by Debo/Rich, this little couch thing. There's a corner here and there's lockers, and you can also get to the kitchen around. This is like it's like a block.
It's a good way for us to get around when they're doing big meetings, and we can still get to the coffee by going around the outside. I did text you, Kyle.
Oh, okay. I can't wait.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. Didn't you just go say hi?
I did. Yes. But like, I'll text you.
Okay. Sorry, Chad. All right, 5 seconds. Here we go. All right. We've whined about free throws enough.
Of course we have.
At some point they'll make them. We'll hear from Domantas Sabonis, by the way. Domantas Sabonis had some interesting stuff to say in the locker room after the game last night. We will hear from him thanks to some video courtesy of our very own James Ham. Yeah, I with just to put a cap on the free throw thing while I stall so I can let this music run out so I can play our 6 quick thoughts intro. Just the last point on the free throw thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make it very clear that this is not wow, they lost last night because they didn't make free throws. Like if you add up 6 more free throws to the score, yeah, they win. But it was not the only reason that last night got sideways on the Kings.
No.
Yeah. So
there's plenty of reasons, and we'll get to them.
Yeah, let's get to them right now with 6 quick thoughts.
How'd yesterday's Kings game go? Kings insider James Ham has 6 notes you need to know. Here are James Ham's 6 quick thoughts.
Hey, 6 quick thoughts sponsored by maybe you. Rich.ripley@odyssey.com. If you own a business or work somewhere that wants to sponsor this segment, go ahead.
There it is.
James, fire away.
They are free, right? I mean, 18 and 32 from the free throw line.
We're done with free throws. All right, free throws.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Go on.
Mike Brown may need to scrap everything else and just do the miss a free throw run. Miss a free throw run just for the next couple of days of practice. If you miss a free throw, everybody runs. And I don't care who it is. Hit your free throws. I put up a video after yesterday's practice, the day before practice, of De'Aaron Fox hitting, 25 straight, probably?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't miss. And then we get to the game, and, was his free throw shooting even as, sure, he missed a couple, but it's just something's wrong, and I don't know how to fix it other than to say they got to focus,
I mean, whatever it is, I genuinely don't know how to go, hey, just make it.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. It's not a matter of form. It's not about, they need to have a night. Malik Monk, and this isn't a team thing. It's not like, hey, Domas went 12 for 12 from the free throw line, and now Malik's making them. Individually, they need to see a couple go down, and I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think so too.
Number 2.
De'Aaron Fox never really got going until the fourth quarter in this game. 24 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds in 40 minutes. I swear I had 5 rebounds.
Was that 6?
Yeah, it says 6 on here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, then he did get an extra rebound because it wasn't 6 before. Last night it wasn't. It was 24-6-5 after the game.
Got it.
That's okay. Anyway, he just didn't look like himself, and his defensive issues with TJ McConnell were crazy. And it wasn't just him. And Mike Brown was clear to point out that someone should have cut the baseline the entire time and stopped that. And that was what are we doing?
He cooked everybody.
Everybody. But it's because when he got to that position, there should have been a second man there. And then I guess Mike was even saying he goes under the basket where he's behind the basket and comes back up and under. And that's why it looks like he just keeps scoring when you don't expect, because no one expects him to come back up to the rim for a shot. And so it's just kind of a weird thing that he does, but he's really good at it. And the Kings did not adjust. And that's not the first time that TJ McConnell has absolutely cooked De'Aaron Fox and the Sacramento Kings. And again, the Sacramento Kings as a whole, there had to be an adjustment there where somebody else said, I got baseline. I'll stop the drive.
Right.
Yeah. And no, didn't happen.
He got a shoulder through De'Aaron, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray. It just
Kevin Huerter,
everybody.
Malik Monk.
Pick a person.
Yeah. Name that king.
TJ McConnell.
He got through.
Scored on him.
Yeah.
That was not great. Although the worst part is when it was announced that Tyrese Halliburton is out. I saw people in the chatty house and on Twitter like, well, TJ McConnell's cooking tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Like, man, that's a tough spot to be in.
And the crazy thing is he only scores 20. It felt like he scored 45.
Right, because it's TJ McConnell.
Well, but he scored 20. But once you did try to stop him, he crushed you. Yeah. And ended up with 10 assists.
He's a good player, man.
He's a good little ball
That's
player.
the thing, is this isn't some rando who's never going to play in the NBA again.
Yeah,
TJ McConnell's been around, and he is a good guard.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that you wish you had on your team every single time you see him play. You're like, man, how do you get TJ McConnell?
The Michael Jordan and Matthew Dellavedovas.
There it is.
That's
very, very good.
Thank you. Number 3.
Headband Huerter.
You did this to spite me.
I did.
And I don't like it.
It's taken half the season.
Like, you're going to buzz for this.
It's a complete crap.
I agree.
It appears that Kevin Huerter has found himself. Man, when he's hitting Kyle, he has an ability to draw the entire defense one way. Everyone starts to fade towards him as he's coming off that DHO at the top of the key.
The dribble handoff.
They all chase him right out to the outside, and he still has the ability to get the shot off. 7 of 12 from long range, 31 points, career high, 31 points.
Wow.
He had been stuck at he got to 30 last year, which was the first time he'd ever hit 30. And then last night, 31 points. He is the offense. He is the ingredient that has been missing from this offense.
Yep.
If they can find a way to get this, to bottle it and have him become the player he was last year, this team goes right back into the top 5 of offensive rating in the league.
That's it.
Yep.
That is so much what it comes down to. So much of it rides on Kevin Huerter. And it's not, it is the confidence that he's shooting them with. He's coming off the dribble handoff and he's stepping backwards. He's stepping right. He's feeding Domas. He's playing with so much more confidence on the offensive end than he was at any other point since he got benched in the preseason.
I did have this funny exchange with him and Domas in the locker room in pregame. So I said, hey, you got a haircut? Because I don't know if you noticed the road trip, Kevin Huerter started to have like a little flip thing going. And Domas is like, I was trying to get him not to cut it. And Kevin's like, you're just trying to make me look stupid. They were going back and forth. Either way, he did cut his hair, and I think he cleaned it up a little bit. He started to look like a quail.
I think he does it himself with the headband.
Oh.
It looks terrible. Like, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
It's got to go.
I love the headband. Headband Huerter.
I'm number 5.
Feed him. Domantas Sabonis camped out in the lane and demolished his former team. 18 of 13 from the field. He was 8 of 9, I think, to start, so maybe he did miss some shots. 21 points, 10 assists, 11 rebounds, 24th double-double, 12th triple-double, all for nothing.
In the second half, he went 0 for 3 from the field.
What in the world?
I don't understand it. I don't get it. Why? He's cooking. 0 for 3 from the. This is a second game now in a row where it's like, man, hey, figure out some offense in the second half. And I know, okay, late they stormed back with 2 minutes left and scored all these points. Okay, awesome. But part of the way you don't get down 16 with 2 minutes left is making sure that Domantas Sabonis, and again, I don't know if this is a coaching thing or if this is a Domas thing. I don't know. But
well, if it's a team thing, it's possible that
a team thing. Yeah,
it's possible that other guys are like, oh, it's my turn to eat.
Maybe, but he scored 5 points, ironically, all at the free throw line. 9 boards, great. 4 assists, love it. That's awesome. But I need more than 3 shots for Domantas Sabonis in the second half of a game that you're losing. Like I said, I don't care why or how. Fix it.
Fix it.
Number 6.
Something new. Keegan Murray is a perimeter marksman, but he's starting to show a whole bunch of other stuff, Kyle. Like, if you're not getting excited about what's happening with Keegan Murray, it's hidden in the losses. My goodness, man, he's becoming a ball player. I think last night he had at least 5 dunks, and it may have been 6. They robbed him of a dunk early. The only way I know this is because I take his 0.5 prize picks.
I'm sorry, the more.
The more. I take more in prize picks every single game. They're going to steal my stat. They're going to take the stat away anytime. But until they do, I'm riding this, baby. I'm riding it. He is developing right in front of our eyes, and I think it's really interesting. 27 points, 8 rebounds. Again, kind of just hidden in a bad loss.
Yeah, he is developing, I think, the way that they wanted him to develop. He needed to be better off the bounce this year than he was last year. And you saw it a tiny bit last year. You saw it a little bit in the first half of this year, but I think you're really starting to see it. And now I think the next step is, okay, that's great. You've got all that in your bag. But now in a spot where Kings need a bucket, he needs to be one of the guys that they go to.
Yes.
To say, hey, take it on the wing, put the ball on the floor, go get a shot that you are comfortable getting.
You can see the pathway forward for this team is Keegan Murray taking this step.
So clear.
It is very, very clear. All right.
All right. I want to talk a little bit about Kevin Huerter specifically.
Okay.
He's been very good the last 3 games. Is he upping his trade value? Or the opposite? Is he taking himself
indispensable
off the table for the Kings? We'll discuss that next on ESPN 1320.
Kyle, we did 5 out of 6 quick thoughts. No? Can Kyle hear me?
I can now.
We did 5 out of the 6.
Oh, we didn't do 6? Oh, what? How did that happen?
I don't know. You just go to break. I'm like, wait, we got one more to do. We got one more thought.
How did? What a dunce!
Oh, that was awesome.
All right, well, we'll have a 6th quick thought on the other side.
That's what happens when I throw in headband Huerter in the 6
you
quick
really
thoughts.
Just.
I almost said headband Huerter because Kyle.
No, I know. I saw it and I
Madsen.
went, this is a direct shot across the bow.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Yeah, no, this is definitely it. No, I just lose track. I've got a million things happening back here.
It's all right.
I'm
gonna say, like, some people are like, "Hey, he's stuffing his stats, or his triple doubles are hollow." I don't think any of these triple doubles have been hollow. I'm just waiting for somebody else to step up and help out in a way, because Sabonis is not a 20-point, a 25 per game scorer. He's just not, and that's okay. He does everything else so well. And I like, sometimes it happens where it looks a little bit like he stuffed stats, but he basically got to a triple double early.
I would like him to. I don't need him to score 25 a game, but if he's going to go get 19, I need not all 19 of them to be in the goddamn first half.
Yeah. Hey, we have an interesting thing that just happened. The Sacramento Kings have assigned not Colby Jones.
Yeah, goddamn right. Stay with the big club, kid.
I think Colby Jones is already assigned. They just assigned
Oh.
Kessler Edwards. Wow. Kessler Edwards assigned to the Stockton Kings.
Gonna get Kessler Edwards some PT so I can take over for Harrison Barnes.
Get him some burn.
I'm so mad I forgot my coffee cup. So I drink tea during the show, right? A little chai. It's really good. Trader Joe's chai, by the way. I'm gonna do a little ad for Trader Joe's there.
You should get them to sponsor 6 quick thoughts.
This is the Trader Joe's spiced chai. I ran the box. I don't usually have the box in here. I just ran it in here because I was panicking before the show. Didn't have time to go to my locker. It's really good, but I usually bring like my to-go coffee cup because having the lid on it keeps it hot during the show. And not having that, this is already like lukewarm and we're a quarter of the way in.
Yeah, my coffee's already lukewarm. It's funny, for years coming on with D-Lo and Casey, I would come in and make myself hot tea, and I would have hot tea the whole time. But I don't do that in the morning. I usually have a cup of coffee. I think we should get into this. The Harrison Barnes situation from last night to me is interesting.
Okay. Great. We can do that in 10 seconds.
All right.
Here we go. All right, hang on. I messed up. Hang on. All right, let's see. We gotta get rid of that. We gotta get rid of that. And we're gonna take that down. All right, hey, welcome back in. I messed up in the last segment. That's fine. We do 6 quick thoughts around here, not 5. 6 is one more than 5. It goes 4, then 5, and then 6. So I botched that. That's on me. I'll wear that. 100% my fault. I lost track of which quick thought we were on. All right.
How'd yesterday's Kings game go?
Not great.
Kings insider James Ham has 6 notes you need to know.
Well, he has one more.
Here are James Ham's 6
his 6th
thoughts.
Here's James Ham's 6th quick thought. All right, number 6, James.
I'm waiting for the bell.
My bad. Hang on. Oh my God. Figure it out, kid. There we go.
Benchless in Sacramento. It's my homage to Sleepless in Seattle. There you go.
It's very good.
There you go.
I got it. I got the ref.
The Kings bench has been solid. That wasn't the case in this one. Midway through the third quarter, they had 4 total points, all of which Malik Monk had scored. They finished with 16, 9 from Monk, 7 from Sasha Vezenkov, who keeps playing himself in to the rotation. Every time he steps on the court, he's just so sneaky.
No, he's just a good player. High IQ player. Should he start over Harrison Barnes?
No.
Because I saw a bunch of people saying that last night. If you're going to plant Harrison Barnes in the corner and have him shoot threes, why not just have Sasha Vezenkov do it?
Well,
Sasha Vezenkov, by the way, averaging 0.2 fewer rebounds per game than Harrison Barnes.
No.
Somehow. Swear to God. There are 8 players on the Kings averaging more rebounds than Harrison Barnes. All 4 starters. Trey Lyles, Alex Len, and JaVale McGee, both of whom play fewer than 9 minutes per game.
I think an even more intriguing stat might be to look at the per 36 and see where, Harrison Barnes per 36.
10th? 12th? Last?
He's 16th.
Out of 15?
The only people behind him are Jordan Ford, Davion Mitchell, and the artist formerly known as Philippe Petrusev.
Oh, Philippe, R.I.P.
3.4 rebounds per 36. I mean, Keon Ellis is up there. Everyone is up there. Juan Toscano Anderson, just so you know.
Quite literally, every player on the team is above him.
Except for Jordan Ford and Davion Mitchell.
Of course.
Juan Toscano Anderson, JTA, is 4th on the team in rebounds per 36.
He hustles.
He does hustle. Wow. Okay.
If you put Juan Toscano Anderson's verve,
His motor.
his
Yeah.
motor. Oh, motor is a way
Yeah.
better word. Yeah. If
Yeah.
you put Juan Toscano Anderson's motor in if Harrison Barnes had Juan Toscano Anderson's motor,
Mm-hmm.
he'd be awesome. He'd be a really good player.
Yeah, he'd probably be like Lance Stevenson.
Yeah, but I think probably a better shooter.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of player. He'd be a 6'8", good sized wing who could guard 2 through 5, depending on the 2, 3 through 5 reliably, and knock down threes and put the ball on the deck and make plays. And instead he's
it's
kind of out there.
Maybe run our test. Like you just you just can't do that. Yeah, I mean, like we can't make a player. Well, they've tried. It's called Victor Wembanyama, but they've tried to create him in a lab, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, TBD.
Yeah, TBD.
So you had an interesting note about that may or may not relate to Harrison Barnes. What was the roster move the Kings just made?
Kessler Edwards has been sent to the Stockton Kings of the G League.
So they're definitely like, hey, Kessler, go play the 4, figure it out, and then see if he does so they have an option to replace Harrison Barnes in the starting lineup.
I guess, but I feel bad for Kessler because he's up against like 5 28 to 32-year-old former NBA players that play for the Stockton Kings because championships matter, Kyle. Championships at the G League level matter.
Yeah, no, if you're not, I mean, why have a team if you're not going to try to win a title?
Yeah, they matter, Kyle. They matter.
No, so you really, hang on. So this is a 2-part question. Let's put a pin in the Harrison Barnes aspect.
Okay, I want to hear
I'm
your
now
2-part
intrigued. I'm now intrigued by the Stockton aspect
because your John Dickinson 2-part question is coming. I love it.
Well, but
that's what I call them.
Right, but I'm not nearly as much of a pro as JD. But I'm going to separate this.
Okay.
I'm going to ask 2 questions that are related but separately.
Okay. The first being
the same but different.
Okay.
The first one, we're putting a pin in the Harrison Barnes aspect of this. I just want to talk about Kessler Edwards and Stockton. So the Kings, the Sacramento Kings, the NBA team, they are sending a player down off of their roster to Stockton, presumably to play.
Stretch his legs. That's what you would think.
Get out there, play the 4, and just do the stuff that Harrison Barnes does so they can evaluate how he does.
Get some experience, especially like he's on an expiring contract. And what is he, 23 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's not old. So go play, right?
He's 23.
Is there a scenario where the head coach of the Stockton Kings is like, great, he's going to be on the bench because I got to get Jeremy Lamb and Shabazz Muhammad out there?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's
seems
Lindsay,
insane.
It's Lindsey Harding, so she's got to be taking directives from Mike Brown.
That's it.
Because that's the way it's supposed to go.
Right.
But like, look, that team is laser focused on victories. Like Skal Labissiere is playing huge minutes. They just like Deontay Burton is like 29 years old. Like Jeremy Lamb is in, Jeremy
Lamb's like my age.
He's like entering his mid 30s and playing. So Shabazz Muhammad, that they have one other kid that they traded for not too long ago, like a week or 2 ago, who again is like a 26 to 28-year-old. This is not the D League. This is the Gatorade League.
Wait, hang on. Stanley Johnson's on the Stockton Kings?
Yes, Stanley Johnson is on the Sacramento Kings. I mean, the Stockton Kings. The Stockton Kings. Yeah,
this is an all-star team of players I was just wrong about. This is an all-star team of players I loved who are just not good basketball players in the NBA.
Okay.
This is really funny.
But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be that they're not like functional players. So I
know. But if they were good, they wouldn't be in their 30s playing in the G League.
Yes. No, of course.
Okay. That's all I'm saying.
Mason Jones. That's the other guy. The Mason Jones was born in 1998. So maybe he's
he's 25.
Yeah.
26 if he was early 98.
Okay.
No, so I just can't imagine the Kings would be like, hey, we need Kessler Edwards to play 25 minutes a night.
Mm-hmm.
And we need him to put up threes and maybe put the ball on the deck now and then and guard the other team's, best perimeter player and do all this stuff so we can evaluate and see what we have here.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't do it at the NBA level because you got to try and win some games and you can't be confident he's going to help you do that. So that you believe or do you believe there's a realistic possibility that Lindsey Harding is going to be like, nah?
No, I don't feel that way.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. When it
So
comes
he's
to
not
something
really
like
competing with 30-year-olds.
no, well, he is. I mean, he's still going to compete with them for minutes, and in crunch time, if they need to go to somebody else, they're going to. But like, look, this is like the Kings G League roster is doing some interesting stuff. So, again, like summer league championships don't really matter. Like you can hang a banner if you want, but that it doesn't really matter in the long. I mean, if you're building a program, it's positivity. I get that, but like no one ever like won a summer league championship and that led to them winning an NBA title the next year. Like that's not typically how this thing goes. So like, look, I hope he goes down there. And if nothing else, I'll say this, he's going to play with players that should know what they're doing.
Ideally.
Like, it's not like he's going down there and playing with a bunch of young players that are still trying to find themselves or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
He's going down there and playing with a bunch of guys who would love nothing more than to drop 40 3 nights in a row and try to get a call up to the bigs. Like, that's where he's going. So I hope that means that he'll have an opportunity to do what he's supposed to do, which is sit in the corner and shoot open threes, hit open threes, and then play defense at an elite level.
Yeah.
And if he can do that, he can add a little bit of rebounding, then sure, why not? Because that's where we're going here.
And when you say a little bit of rebounding, the bar is not high.
Well, if you can't, I mean,
hit me 3?
As of right now, like where is Kessler Edwards is he's not 16th, he's 14th on the Kings in rebounds per 36 minutes. Maybe I'm wrong.
Just ahead of Harrison?
No, he's 11th. He's 11th, 5.5. Yeah.
I honestly, I love the idea. If there's nothing on the trade market and this is where the Kevin Huerter thing comes in for me, because if Kevin Huerter is all of a sudden a player, the Kings are like, hey, we can't, like, unless we're adding another elite 3-point shooter, you can't just go get some rando that may or may not shoot 36, 37% and play some good defense because you have Kevin Huerter who looks like he's back to shooting 40+% again.
Yeah, Kevin Huerter looks like Kevin Huerter.
Yeah, like, which is a super valuable piece of the team. And I don't know that there's a player that's going to be available in the trade market that you feel like you're getting equal value back on your team if you're dealing Kevin Huerter. So that's what his play over the last few games has potentially, I don't know, changed the calculus for the Kings a little bit. But I think this Kessler Edwards thing is really interesting because the Kings, I promise, I see it in the chatty house right here, youtube.com/ESPN1320 and twitch.tv/ESPN1320 if you want to contribute to the chatty house. Also, if you're there, hit the thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Anyways, I see it in the chatty house. I see it on Twitter. I know you see it on Twitter. Or talking to people. Or being at a game and listening to people. And you hear, why is Harrison Barnes still starting? Why is he playing? If he's going to go 2 shots in 22 minutes and score 2 points and grab 1 rebound and have 1 assist, why is he out there? If he's going to get cooked by TJ McConnell when he guards him on defense, what is he doing? Like, what's the point? And we've talked about this before. The Kings don't have a really like logical replacement.
Yeah.
Who's going to be significantly better without messing up what you're doing down your bench. But I think this is the Kings acknowledging by sending Kessler Edwards down theoretically to get him some playing time to see if he can play over Harrison Barnes, is acknowledging like, yeah, no, we know. Like, I promise the Kings aren't looking at Harrison Barnes going, hell yeah. Like, this is awesome.
I mean, this could be something way more simple, like Kessler Edwards hasn't got to play in weeks and you need to stretch his legs because the Kings haven't been able to do a full contact practice for a while because some of their guys are banged up and they're on the road and all that stuff. And so maybe you're just trying to get Kessler Edwards some burn. So it doesn't.
I'm going to ride my theory.
Okay. Your theory is much more interesting. I totally agree where you're like, hey, why not? Like at this point, why not?
Yeah.
And you know, like if you look at last night's game, right? The fact that he has 1 rebound and 1 assist in 22 minutes is just unacceptable. It just flat out. It's unacceptable. Now the assist, I can look at the assist total and tell you, hey, I don't look at that because the dude doesn't have the ball in his hands enough to make it to have any assists.
No doubt.
But the rebound number, when you put someone else in his position, all of a sudden they go and get 3 or 4 rebounds. That's kind of all everyone is asking for. Maybe get 5, because this guy used to average 6.5 rebounds a game.
Yes.
So like maybe that's what you need to do. But I would say, even if you look at last night's game where he goes 1 of 2 from the field, and everyone could say, hey, I want him to have more shots. I want him to have more shots. Why didn't he take more than 2 shots? Well, Keegan Murray took 18, and Domantas Sabonis took 13, and Kevin Huerter got hot and took 17, and De'Aaron Fox took 20. So the other guys in the starting lineup took a total of 68 shots. I believe that's what the total is. Quick math, 30, 50, 68. 68 shots.
Mm-hmm.
Your starting lineup took 70 shots. That's a really good total. So Harrison Barnes is left out in the cold. He's not part of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way for him to, like, on occasion, maybe he could demand the ball or something. But, like, look.
He's not going to do that.
No. Well, that's just not who he's ever been, is
Right.
to be like a selfish guy. But last night specifically, the bulk of shots that came from the starting lineup was a lot. And it's because they were hitting. Like Fox, 8 of 20. That's still 40%. It's not perfect, but it's still 40%.
I get the whole field goal attempts aspect of this.
Yes. It's all the other stuff.
And it is wild. Like, I posted a shot chart on Twitter. It is wild that you look at all these other starters shooting all these, and then there's this guy with 2 shots. It's not even the field goal attempts, and it's not really even the points. It's that rebounding number. It's the fact that in 22 minutes, this 6'8" athlete grabbed 1 board. You got 1 again, and this isn't a one-off. This isn't, hey, Harrison Barnes had 1 bad night. This is an exclamation point on an accumulation of games where it's a lack of overall effectiveness. You can pick whatever stat you want.
Yes.
But it is the lack of overall effectiveness from Harrison Barnes. And maybe you have mentioned this several times when we've talked about this. Maybe if he goes up and gets a rebound and gets a putback, or he gets a rebound, he kicks it out, he relocates, now he's open because he has grabbed an offensive rebound. Maybe if he grabs a defensive rebound and gets out and runs, defense is scrambling. Oh, look, he gets a wide open coast-to-coast layup. And now all of a sudden he's got 8 field goal attempts, and he has 12 points. And the field goal aspect of this goes away because, hey, he is grabbing rebounds. He is asserting himself, or not asserting himself, but just inserting himself into the action and forcing the issue by going and getting the basketball. That's where the frustration lies for me. It's not, hey, he only took 2 shots. He needs to shoot it more. Like, nah, man, that's not really the issue. It's the fact that he just exists on the court so often without impacting the game.
Well, Kyle, I mean, to your point, this season, he has 12 games where he has 1 rebound or less. And 3 of those games, he has 0. He also has another 6 games where he has 2 rebounds. So he has 18 of the team's 41 games where he's had 2 rebounds or fewer. And
That's
like,
crazy.
look, that's
a
me,
starting power forward in the NBA.
Yeah, that's where I'm confused. Like, why is it? Is he being told not to crash? Is he the first guy back? What is it that's happening here? And I'm not sure. I don't know how to, like, but I'll also tell you, Kyle, this happened midway through last season. Like, it started in February where he stopped rebounding. And I don't know if that was made some sort of structural change where he's not in the same position to go rebound, whatever it is. Like, there should be, they have what's called the crash zone. And it's where the 2 guys that are in the corners fly into the middle to go crash the offensive glass. Yeah, I mean, it's just not happening. Again, I don't know what to, like, heads or tails of what's happening here. But this season, that crash zone, I mean, 20 of the 41 games, he has 0 offensive rebounds. And, we're talking, he's only got an offensive rebound in like more than 1 offensive rebound in 11 of the 41 games. The other 30, he has 1 or fewer offensive rebounds. And that's where, like, the crash zone thing is real. Like, and you see other players come in and all of a sudden they're living in the crash zone. But I also know it's difficult when you're playing alongside the best rebounder in the NBA, when you're playing alongside Domantas Sabonis. And But
somehow that doesn't affect so many other players' ability to average as many or more rebounds as Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
Sasha Vezenkov. All right. Sasha Vezenkov is playing 13 minutes a game. 12.9 minutes a game and averaging 0.2 fewer rebounds per game than Harrison Barnes.
That's wild.
And it's not like Sasha Vezenkov is some 7-footer who just goes in there and cleans up the glass.
I don't know that, like, he can jump over a phone book, but 2 phone books stacked on top of each other.
It's dicey.
That's not who he is, but he's a very, very smart position rebounder.
He gets to a spot. And
he's a body,
yep.
and he reaches up and snares the ball.
Gets the ball.
Yeah.
Like that, and that is where, like I said, I understand that if maybe I mean I don't know the guy, but maybe being included in every trade machine involving the Kings affects a player that much.
Well, okay, and that's what I'm going to say. A lot of people say he's checked out. This dude's under a lot of stress. Like, he signed back in Sacramento for a 3-year, what is it, $54 million deal, whatever.
Yeah.
Expecting to finish out most of the rest of his career here. Like, he signed a 3-year deal to play in Sacramento. He did not sign a 3-year deal to just get money and then hopefully get traded somewhere else. And so this is wearing on him. I know that to be the fact.
Okay.
And so, like, look, it's tough. Like, every player deals with it differently, but it's also really tough for you to be a player who slowly has been downgraded and downgraded and downgraded in your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're seeing guys in Golden State who are clinging on to who they were so hard that they can't.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that there is a happy medium here between, being Klay Thompson and, like, refusing to acknowledge that you aren't the same player and being willing to accept a lesser role, and being where Harrison Barnes is, where you're too willing to accept a lesser role and you need to be more. And that's difficult. It is. Like, I don't know how to, like, put a guy in the right spot and make sure that he's right mentally, especially where every single day you see his name in every single trade. Everyone. The Kings are mentioned with every single major player that's up for grabs, and Harrison Barnes is now the centerpiece in every one of those trades.
It is Harrison Barnes and stuff.
Well, like, I mean,
every
just
deal.
For sake of, like, so people understand, like, if they made the Pascal Siakam trade, Harrison Barnes was getting traded to another country.
Yeah.
He was getting
on
traded
the opposite side of the map,
3,000 miles away to a different country, where, like, moving your wife and child, maybe you don't get to move your wife and child. Maybe they have too many things going on.
Maybe you have to go get a passport and then you have to expedite it. And that's expensive.
And
let me tell you.
And if you can't get it, you need to call your congressman if you can't get it in time, or your local senator.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to get a long form birth certificate.
Yeah.
You got to say, it's a whole thing.
I know. It's absolutely
deal
wild.
with lines at the post office.
Oh my gosh. It's Kyle, this is happening for you right now. I can tell.
Yeah, it is.
yeah. We've got our 16-year-old. We got to get his passport renewed.
I love the idea that Harrison Barnes is sitting there and, like, oh man, he's stressing out about the trade deadline. He's like, no, I haven't gotten an update on where my passport is. I expedite.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been 3.5.
He's sitting there Googling, what is it? Tim Hortons. Yeah. Like, just looking up, like, no, it's tough. That's what, like, I always try to explain.
Biscoff.
Like, getting traded in the middle of a season is brutal for players, especially players with families.
No doubt.
And I get it. If it's weighing on him, it's like, it would weigh on me. The trade deadline takes a ton out of me as well. Like, all the things that I'm doing all the time, the conversations I'm having all over the country all the time.
And
like,
you don't even have to move.
I don't. And all the little information that we're getting, and they can't trade me somewhere else, because at this point, I think they would like to trade me somewhere else, but they can't, Kyle. They can't trade me somewhere else.
No, they sure.
I wouldn't show up in the 72-hour window.
The Kings have acquired Dorian Finney-Smith in exchange for Harrison Barnes, a 2028 second-round pick, and James Ham
of the Insiders.
Subscribe to the Nets beat. All right.
There it is.
Yeah, so I get it. Like, I don't, and this is, again, everything I say on this show, everything you say on this show about any athlete is couched in, like, understanding that the personal side of this is separate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to look at Harrison Barnes' performances this year and go, actually, it's okay because he's stressed out. Like, I get that that's a cause for it. But at the same time, we needed to, the Kings have lost 4 in a row. They are in a spot where their roster does not look like it's ready to compete for a championship, and our discussion has to center around like, hey, how did they get there?
Yeah, and how did they get out of it?
And how do they win a game? How do they get their team to championship contention? Like, that has to be the conversation. So again, all due respect to every single player as a person, as a human, and as a man. Like, I can't fathom what they go through, put their bodies through, but during the season, after the season, the stress of free agency, the stress of getting traded and, getting benched, whatever it is. I get that. I couldn't fathom what that's like. But also, we need to have these real conversations about a player who goes out and in a game that the Kings lost by 5, their starting power forward went for 2-1-1
in 22 minutes.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you, man. We have to keep it real. We have to be honest with, the conversation, but also it has to be nuanced, and people have to understand that there's more than just a guy isn't doing anything on the court, because if you could find a shooter that if Harrison Barnes is going to be this player, right? You can find other people. Kessler Edwards in reality could do a lot. Now, people aren't going to respect Kessler Edwards. They're not going to stay with him on the 3-point line. So yes, it would hurt your offense. They're just not. They're not going to defend him.
Right.
You have to defend Harrison Barnes.
Yes.
And so there is something different than I think people are missing there. But there are a lot of players in the league that can shoot the 3 ball at a high clip, that people understand can shoot the 3 ball, who can also defend at a higher level than what we're seeing, or who can also go get you 6 rebounds. Like you swap out Harrison Barnes for Josh Hart, and this team is totally different. I mean, straight up. Like
Josh Hart's like 6'4".
Yeah, you add that rebounding element, and you're totally different. You switch him out for Matisse Thybulle, and all of a sudden you have an elite defender on the perimeter to go with. Like the TJ McConnell thing doesn't happen last night.
Yep.
You have someone else to slow down Steph Curry in game 6 and game 7.
Yeah.
Like those are things that actually matter. And so, yeah, it's tough. They got some things to figure out, which is why these guys are mentioned in trade conversations.
Yep. And they will continue to be mentioned all the way through the trade deadline, or until the Kings make a deal, which could, happen any day. So keep it locked into ESPN 1320, because the second there is a deal, we will have it for you, and we'll be breaking it down. And we appreciate everybody who is here watching and listening to the Insiders. D'Lo and KC coming up at noon. We need to hit a break. We're also going to switch gears real quick. The 49ers play a playoff game this weekend. Saturday, 5:15, they host the Green Bay Packers. We're going to talk to Nick Wagner. He covers the 49ers for ESPN. Good buddy of mine, a good friend of the show. We will talk about this 49ers-Packers showdown at Levi Stadium with him. Coming up next on The Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube, right here on ESPN 1320.
It's just me, or they keep having like parties behind you today?
That keeps happening.
Like, because I can hear that.
No, yeah, that keeps happening.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm going to come up with a fake trade.
Oh, okay. TBD on if Nick is going to be video or...
Oh, we're still TBD?
Yeah, I'm going to hit him up right now.
Oh? And Houston is interested in Harrison?
Yes.
That's
Mark Stein?
That's the rumor out there. And Mark Stein is based in Texas. He's close with the good folks in Dallas.
Yeah, he's a Dallas guy, right?
Yeah. I would tell you that the trade I would go after if I were the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, God, please say it. Say it.
Tari Eason.
Jayshawn Tate?
And Jayshawn Tate.
Yes.
And the trade actually makes sense. It actually works in a trade. It would actually, like, you could functionally do that trade. I don't know how, because they make a combined $10 million and Harrison makes $7 million. They must have cap space or something, but for whatever reason, some sort of issues with the salary cap, it works.
Nick will not be on the video.
Okay. Can I call him Nikola Wagner?
I wouldn't, but I mean, you can try and see how that goes.
I'm so used to calling people Wagner. But he spells his name very differently.
Yeah, I'm guessing his name comes from like a lineation of wagon makers.
Yes. Nick Wagner. That's interesting.
Let me ask him the keys to the game question.
Okay. At the end? You got some good questions in here. I think you've done this before, Kyle. I'm going to ask, I'm going to steal your best question in here and see if I can get that's a great question. Oh, he's got his earphones off. Yeah, it's like a weird party behind Kyle all day long with different people. Oh, I think that's just in case right there. That jean jacket with the fur collar, the glasses, shorts with black socks. We're back. What's going on, Kyle?
My man, thanks, James. Sorry about that.
No, you got things to do.
A little bit of a technical issue, but we're working that out. Nick Wagner of ESPN will be joining us right now as I figure this out. Doing a two-man show is very difficult, it turns out. But Nick Wagner, ESPN, covers the 49ers for ESPN. Nick, what's going on, man?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Working our way through another tough Sacramento Kings loss. I know you were locked into that last night on via text. We appreciate that very much. Where are we? Sorry, I'm flustered, man. I got a million things happening. You wrote ESPN. That's where you work. You wrote a really great piece about Brock Purdy on ESPN.com. How do you think he responds here in his second postseason trip?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, Kyle, because I was asking him about that the other day. I said, Brock, does anything feel different the second go around? Because last year he was still such an unknown. And I think even with it, for himself, he didn't know exactly what kind of player he was yet. And he said it does feel a little different. And he said the two things that kind of stick out to him going into this the second time are, A, he has far more familiarity with the offense, but B, he does know what kind of player he is. And he even said that he went back this week and watched those playoff games just to kind of remember what it felt like. And I said, well, what did it feel like? And he said the biggest thing that he walked away from watching it again is just kind of reminding himself that when you get into a win or go home scenario, every single play matters. And so kind of walking that tightrope between I'm trying to make plays and I can't turn the ball over is a huge part of what you're doing. And that's true anytime you play, but it certainly is ratcheted up in the postseason. So I don't get the impression that Brock is fazed by this. I think, if anything, he's probably going to be more comfortable. I also think that this applies to him and the rest of the team. I just get the impression that this is a team that is like just kind of foaming at the mouth to get back on the field in a meaningful postseason game, because they continue to have to climb the mountain. And that's the hardest part when it ends like it did last year for them is, oh, crap, it takes so much work just to even get back to the postseason. So I think there's a bit of relief that they're finally kind of back at this point now.
You know, Nick, when you look at sort of Purdy's progression throughout, whether you want to look at late last season, but realistically this year, and you get to the end and his stats say that he's elite and everything says that he's elite, and everyone wants to put an asterisk out there because he's got such a great team and all these weapons. But is there a sense with him that he believes that he is that guy, that he's a 4,400 yard passer with 31 touchdowns and, you know, a couple of rushing touchdowns? Does he have that ultimate confidence that he's not just a system quarterback, that he is the guy there?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that his teammates love about him so much is kind of the edge and the swagger that he plays with. And it's funny because if you get to know Brock and you're around him during the week, or you see him, you know, walking into the stadium and he's just wearing khakis and a plaid shirt and he's just a normal looking guy, you don't see that. But then when he gets on the field, you do see that. I always like to use the example of Trent Williams, who's, you know, well-established, 11-time Pro Bowl, 5-time All-Pro left tackle. And Trent, I always joke with him because anytime you see the Niners score a touchdown on like a big explosive play, so 40, 50 yards, Trent never runs down to the end zone to celebrate, right? He likes to save, I like to call it, save a few clicks on the odometer. He'll meet you on the sideline and dap you up there. But one of the results of that is Trent loves watching Brock celebrate, because Brock just loses his mind. And I use the example in the story about how guys, and Kyle Shanahan included, still make fun of Brock Purdy about the first touchdown celebration he ever had in the NFL. It was his first preseason game against Green Bay last year. He throws a touchdown, turns, and there, you know, it's Aaron Rodgers on the other sideline, turns to the Niners sideline and does the discount double check. And they still give him crap about it today. But I just say that because, you know, I asked Trent about it. I always give him, I said, you just like watching Brock celebrate. That's why you don't run down there. And he said, well, other than being an old man and not wanting to add more miles on the tires, I do like watching it because you can just see the confidence and the charisma kind of oozing out of him in those moments, and it's really fun to see. And so I think that appeals to guys. I also think the way that Brock kind of balances that with just being super accountable and someone who's very transparent in his own self-assessment, I think is something that kind of appeals to his teammates. But I do think it's just who he is. I've spent enough time with him now and been around him enough to know that, like, this is a guy who is really grounded. He's grounded by his faith, and he will tell you that. But he also has that edge to him that when the game starts, he's going to be out there competing at the highest level.
This is Nick Wagner. He covers the 49ers for ESPN. You mentioned that the 49ers are kind of foaming at the mouth to get in and play a meaningful postseason game. Well, they could have gotten the Eagles. They could have gotten that NFC title game rematch. They could have gotten a matchup with a good Bucs team that they played earlier this year. They get the number 7 seed Packers. Is there a chance that they wind up overlooking Green Bay because they are looking ahead to the NFC title game in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you can't rule anything out, I guess. As you know, Kyle, I always like to say never.
You do say that.
I just think that the Niners are so locked in and so understanding of where they are within their window, right? And I mean, we've been talking about this since the offseason. I wrote a big piece about it in August, that they know that the window is going to close at some point. They don't know when, but they also know that they better jump through it here pretty quickly because it's going to happen at some point, probably in the near future. And certainly once they have to make it, you know, to figure out Brock Purdy's contract, which wouldn't be this offseason, but as early as next offseason. So you're looking at that window and saying, we got to get this done. And I think human nature would indicate, yes, it would be easy to look past and say, okay, we got to look ahead to the Super Bowl because this is what the goal is. But I think the fact that you have so many guys on this team that have played in these meaningful postseason games and they understand how hard it is just to get back to this point to go 12-5 in the regular season and get the 1 seed. I mean, even though they've been to 3 of the past 4 NFC Championship games, they've only been in this position once. And so I think they understand what an opportunity this is for them, particularly, they won't say this, of course, but I think if you look at the NFC right now, it looks like the Niners and everybody else. And I've felt that way for a while now, just this season. So I don't think that they're going to let that happen. I think guys like Fred Warner, the guys who have been around and been through this, aren't going to let anybody be overlooked. And I think they're taking the Packers seriously.
You know, Nick, when you look at the NFC, it sure does look like the president just rolled into town and like the police block every single like on ramp to the freeway, and then there's just this wide open path right to the Super Bowl for the Niners. I don't want to be totally disrespectful to the teams that are still left, but the first week of the playoffs, you lost basically the 3 teams that might have had a chance to beat you. That's what it looked like, at least. Do you feel that way, or am I just overlooking the Lions, overlooking the Packers, and there's a shot that somehow this thing spirals out of control?
Yeah, I mean, I do look at it that way. Like I said, I've felt like the Niners are the best team in the NFC pretty much all season, and I think they've proved that repeatedly with how they handled the Cowboys, how they handled the Eagles, although the Eagles were fairly fraudulent, and I kind of felt that way even going into that Niners-Eagles game before we even saw what happened. But I'll say this, anything can happen every week. That's the cliche thing to say, and we know that. But I think that the path to beating the 49ers, the blueprint to do it, is one, kind of hard to control, which is turnovers. That's true every week, as Kyle will allude to. It's one of the keys to the game for every game. But I think that's kind of an X factor. But if you look at also, let's just use the Minnesota game, which is that the only NFC game the Niners lost this year that wasn't a meaningless game?
Yes.
I think it was, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. And the reason the Vikings won that game, other than a bad defensive play call before the end of the half and some weird stuff happening turnover-wise, was Kirk Cousins played out of his mind in that game.
Yep.
He was so good in that game. And is Jordan Love capable of that kind of game? I think he probably is. So I would say that would be the cautionary part of this for the Niners, although I think a lot of what this game is going to come down to is, can they stop the run? Because to me, it was the Packers' ability to run the ball consistently, even when they weren't having a ton of success. The fact that they were able to keep doing it over and over and over, and eventually the dam broke, and Jordan Love played really well too. But that would be kind of the cautionary part of this week. And then if it was the Lions next week, I think the concern with a team like the Lions is they're extremely physical. They have a very good offensive line, and they will run the ball until they are stopped, essentially. And if you get into a game where you're playing against a team that can do that and limit your possessions, because to me, I don't think there's a defense, certainly, James, in the NFC that can stop the 49ers at this point. But if you can limit possessions and keep the offense on the sideline, that would be a potential key to pulling an upset. But that's a long-winded way of saying, no, I don't necessarily think there's an NFC team that is a serious impediment to the 49ers on the road to the Super Bowl. But I do think there's at least a couple of paths for it to happen, however much of a long shot they might be.
Nick Wagner covers the 49ers for ESPN. Nick, 2 quick ones to get you out of here. One, do you think Dre Greenlaw is going to play on Saturday?
Yes. Yeah. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. I know you got to be careful when it's an Achilles, things like that. But the fact that he was at practice the last 2 days gives me every indication that he's probably going to strap it up and play.
All right, you got 3 keys to a 49ers victory for us?
I don't, but I leave that to you. I think you're the king of the keys, Kyle.
Yeah.
So
right.
I'm sure something about 4 quarters and turnovers and the ball, I think, is important, probably.
Yeah, you know what? It's actually, you know what?
Broth,
you got to win special teams.
It's a big thing.
4 quarters is actually not a key to this one. I think you can get away with 3 quarters. It's the red area for me.
The red zone.
Oh, the red area. Well, what about
we call it the red
broth?
area here.
How
We're football guys.
Factor in?
You said what?
Chicken broth. Where does that factor in? I heard that last weekend was a big thing.
Yeah, no. If it rains, it's going to be a huge factor. So that'll be weather dependent. Underrated chicken broth city, Santa Clara. So that'll be big.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, once you cross over into Santa Clara, I think it's fine. I heard San Francisco's a little overrated on the chicken broth.
Yeah, so. San Jose, bad chicken broth. Santa Clara, prime chicken broth in Santa Clara.
Absolutely.
Nick, thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. Enjoy the game tomorrow.
You got it, guys. See ya.
Nick Wagner covers the 49ers for ESPN. I like his keys there. Yeah. Turnovers, in the red zone.
Win the special teams battle.
Yeah, take care of the ball.
Yeah.
We're late. We're just going to go anyways. All right. We'll be right back. We'll have more Kings next.
He's good, man. He's fun. What's going on, Chatty House?
Yeah, that's a running bit in our group of friends is the every time you see keys to the game.
Mm-hmm.
It more on national broadcasts than anything. It's always like win the turnover battle, score in the red zone. You get like local broadcasts like if Katie or whoever's doing Kings has their keys to the second half, it'll be something like very specific.
Mm-hmm.
But man, the national ones got to protect the quarterback. Yep, sure do.
Sure do.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah, science.
It's hard though. I get it. Like when you cover a league nationally, like being locked into the very minutia of every single team is impossible. So, hey, this team generates a lot of turnovers. The other team needs to make sure that they don't do that today. Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You are correct.
Glad we landed that plane. Sorry, everybody, for the start of that horse shit.
You were fine. Right.
Same.
Yeah.
I am our boss is wearing a Brett Favre jersey.
I know that's
in 2024.
I don't think that's going to go over
That is
real well
wild.
with our friends here.
That is wild.
G. Lobo, James, why aren't the Kings resting Fox? I'm pretty sure Fox has had like 31 points, 33 points, and 24 over the last 3 games. I think he's pulled through whatever it was that was ailing him. I just think he's just a little bit off still. So, but the whole team feels like it's off. So I don't know. Like the last season was the good vibes season. And this season right now, the vibes are a little odd, a little off. So tough look. Bonus Keegan. Let's see. Oh, Keegan's up to 16.2 points. Yeah,
10 seconds. I thought we had one more spot. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. This place, and by this place, I mean our office, is just crawling with Packer fans today.
It's really weird.
I had no idea that we were just amongst these people.
This is twice this week I've wanted to say the Spaceballs reference. Once was with Steve Ballmer wearing the big white helmet.
Uh-huh.
The other one was today. I'm surrounded by a-holes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because in our Odyssey little G chat last night, Kim, who does a great job just running the show here. That's what she does. She is just the top of the totem pole.
Not our show, the show.
The show. The entire office. Anytime you need anything here, they're like, go talk to Kim. And Kim just takes care of it. It's great. Anyways, she hits the group chat last night and is like, hey, everybody wear your 49ers gear tomorrow for the game on Saturday. Great. That sounds like a lot of fun. What a cool thing.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, and or if you're a Packer fan, you can do that. And I was like, nah, if you wear your Packer stuff, you're getting launched into the sun. So I had a whole thing about it. I knew one person in here was a Packer fan. Two. I knew 2 people in here were Packer fans. Our boss, Aaron, the guy in the Brett Favre jersey, and then John, the sales guy. It turns out there's like 3 other people here decked out in green and yellow,
It's wild.
but not the A's. They're not excited that the A's might play in Sacramento.
Nope.
It is Green Bay Packers. There's like a beanie in here. Jonathan, our engineer, the homie Jonathan Nurse,
I know. He's in the circle of trust.
in the triangle of avoidance.
Is that triangle of avoidance? He's part
And
of the
he's-
triangle of avoidance.
And he's just in a Packer t-shirt today. Like, what? I didn't even know you liked football.
What is happening?
He's just diehard Packer fan, I guess.
I want to see what Complex is wearing, because Complex is not a sports fan at all.
I
Oh, wait, I see it. I can see on the he's wearing a 49ers like
Complex?
yeah, he has a 49ers like sweatshirt on or something.
What?
Or maybe
Like
he's
Complex of 102.5 FM DJ.
yes, it's possible. It's possible, Kyle. Like I've zoomed in. It's very possible he was wearing a regular shirt and then someone made him a printout of a 49ers logo and he taped it to his chest. It's possible that is what I'm seeing.
I could ask Complex to name 5 49ers, just any 5 from any era.
Ever.
Ever. Anybody who ever wore a 49ers uniform. I'm not sure he could give me 5.
I think he can give you
I'd set
Joe
the over
Montana.
I'd set the over under. I don't even know if he could give me that.
3.
I'd set the over under at 2.5. And I think I'm leaning under.
Yeah. I might take the more, but not much more.
You're taking them more in prize picks. That's
Yeah.
going to be a prize pick. Well, how many 49ers can Complex name?
It could be our mad prop.
I'm going to try and get, no mad props next week, by the way, guys. Or this week, I'm out next week.
Yeah, Kyle is taking off. It will be James and
I was
friends
gonna
next week.
gonna offer to do a mad props today, and then from Hawaii next week, just hop on the video stream and run through them.
All right.
But I'm not doing that. I'm sorry.
You're not coming in and saying hi?
No,
No.
because the show is from 1 to 3 Hawaii time.
Oh,
I plan on being
okay.
well over half in the bag by 1 o'clock every day.
Okay. Yeah, so that's how like some of the greatest bits happen here on the show. Like
Me being more than half in the bag?
no, me coming on the show from where I'm from a location.
Oh,
so,
right.
So like Fedora Ham was when I was in New Orleans during the Final Four.
Sure.
And then there's Sombrero Ham from when I was in Puerto Vallarta
Oh boy.
during
tough.
free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our video was not great. It did look like I think I was witness protection. It was a little dark and everything else. But yeah, that's some of the best versions of James happen right there.
Flannel ham right here.
Flannel ham happens here. Frozen ham happens at home because my internet
Oh,
locks
because
up.
you're
Yeah. Yeah.
Jiffy Lube Fast Break Player of the Game. We've not given you that yet.
Oh.
We'll give it to you right now.
Yeah.
We're going to try something a little different with this one.
Oh.
Kevin Herter is your Jiffy Lube Fast Break Player of the Game. And maybe you're listening for the first time, or maybe you listen and don't pay attention, and you're going, hey, what's that? It is where we give you a chance to win a $100 Jiffy Lube gift certificate, and all you have to do is enter a code word. That code word today is going to be Kavon. K''VON. All right. ESPN1320.com. There is a Jiffy Lube Fast Break Player of the Game page. It is front and center. You don't even have to scroll down. It is right there. You click on that. You enter the code word Kavon. K''VON.
Yep.
Enter that. You'll enter for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate. You will also enter for a chance to win a Sacramento Kings jersey that we'll be giving away at the end of this month. We'll give away another one at the end of February. We'll give another one away at the end of March. And then we'll give another one away at the end of the regular season in April.
So why not Red Herder?
Because it can only be one word.
Why not just one word run together, headband herder?
Because we did headband last time. Last time he was the player of the game, which was recently.
Oh,
it was headband.
Sacktown Tony has it all right in the chat. Code word, free throws. The password is not free throws.
No, it's not. It's Kavon.
The password is
K''VON.
Kavon. K''VON. Let's
Yeah.
do this. And hey, if you get in, like you're put in the gigantic like pool for the jerseys. So let's do this. Everybody in there.
Yeah. So you're gonna want to enter. Get that $100 Jiffy Lube gift certificate. Basically pays for an oil change, depending on the oil you use and depending on your car, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But $100 to Jiffy Lube is a nice little bag.
It is.
And you'll also be entered for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Jiffy Lube and a Sacramento Kings jersey at ESPN1320.com. Enter the code word KVON, K''VON, on the Jiffy Lube Fast Break contest page.
There it is.
Bang, bang. Yeah, this place is just crawling with Packer fans today, and it's gross.
It is weird.
I just needed to mention that.
They didn't even
I was
bring
going to
like
open
a
the
cheese
show with
plate.
that. Right,
Like,
right.
if you're going to do that,
Give me
bring
some-
me a
bring me some
charcuterie board.
Dope ass cheese curds or something.
Yeah, like bring me something that shows that you are actually a Packers fan. Somebody wear a cheese head. Nobody's wearing a cheese head.
I'm going to say this. I feel like
Erroneous.
Milwaukee's probably an underrated city.
Yeah, I would think
Because
so.
like you're telling me apparently the beer scene there is very good. So
Okay.
you're telling me that I can go drink beer and eat cheese curds at basically every place that we go?
Mm.
Like that is a win for me.
Yeah, I think
That sounds like a great spot.
at one point Milwaukee had like 5 of the biggest beer distributors in like the United States. Like it was like Hamm's, Old Milwaukee, like Schlitz, like all of them were there in Milwaukee. It used to be like the beer,
Mhm.
like budget beer capital of the world.
Yeah.
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 That's a trivia question somewhere I remember answering.
That's the last nice thing I'll say about the state of Wisconsin until after Saturday.
Okay.
I will never go there.
You'll never go there.
Cold and snowy. It was super funny. Not to brag, but I went on the radio in Green Bay yesterday. And it is really funny because I have an immense respect for the Green Bay Packers.
Oh yeah.
I think they absolutely have a chance to win. I believe the 49ers will probably win because I think their roster is just better and it's going to win out. But I think the 10 points or 9.5 or whatever the spread is insane. I think it's way too many points.
Mhm.
So I think the Packers are going to cover. I think it's like 30-24. I think it's something like that. But if they won, I wouldn't be like, wow, what happened? Like they're good and they're playing really well. The Green Bay guys, like exactly the same about San Francisco. Like all the questions were like, hey, this guy's really good. Tell us about him. Oh man, they're really good at this. Tell us why they're so good at this. It was
They
not
believe the same thing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they are I think happy with how the Packers are playing, but I don't know that they're super optimistic.
No, I mean the Niners are exceptional. Like, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean they won't lose. I mean,
Yeah,
that,
really
like,
good teams lose in the playoffs all the time.
Yeah, I mean, my prediction is not that they will lose, but
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Yeah, I would not if they played the I don't know, at the end of the year, if they had played the Panthers and the Panthers beat them, I would have been like, what?
Yeah,
Like that. But no, I think they win. I think they handle business against Green Bay. We'll have predictions for each playoff game coming up in a little bit. Let's do a little halfway point check-in with the Kings and try and kind of put a bow on our conversation today and see if we can find maybe a little optimism during a 4-game losing streak. If there
Okay.
is any to find. I don't know. I'm going to try.
we're filled with coffee and donuts. We've got to find some sort of energy and optimism here.
Well, we'll try that next. We'll also have the handoff. One of D'Lo and Casey will be in here as well. Stick around for that on ESPN 1320.
Okay. Oh yeah, so Miller, I believe, is based at major breweries in Milwaukee. Schlitz, Pabst, Blatz, Miller,
PBR is in Milwaukee.
PBR.
Love PBR.
You know, I got my PBR hat.
You know what, Manny? We're talking beer and cheese curds, not cereal.
Yeah, come on, man.
Come on, bro.
Stick with the program. Yeah. Yeah, Schlitz from 1849 to 1982 was Milwaukee's industrial brewing giant.
Dude, Manny, I'm about to. Oh, boo. Google lied to me
About,
where General Mills was located.
oh, where is it?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Minneapolis, to be exact.
I just got done watching Fargo.
Hmm.
The latest season of Fargo. man, it's good. I like it. It's not over the moon like the best show ever, but yeah, it's solid. I'm not sure about like this True Detectives new season. It's gonna need to figure itself out pretty quickly.
I'm still working my way through season 1.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. 10 seconds.
Yes.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Kyle. That's James. We're hanging out with you until noon, and then we will hand it off to D-Lo and KC. I'm trying to figure out what the hell happened to the Kings last night. Man, I'm not even. You know what? Not even. Here's my thing at this point. It's not even about last night. It's not. Oh man, what happened last night against the Pacers? The same thing that keeps happening. It's not like there's something new every night, which may or may not be a good thing. But to me, like I watch them play. And I saw somebody in the chatty house earlier mention they shouldn't make a move just to make a move. And I agree with that for the most part. Like you can't make a bad deal looking to make a deal. But on the other hand, it really feels like post-trade deadline, I think we see a little bit different version of this team. Whether
Kyle,
they make a move or not, but I think they have to shake it up somehow.
Yeah, you don't make a move to make a move. You make a move because you've plateaued.
Yes. Thank you for articulating that better.
Yeah, I mean, like you plateaued, and what do you do now?
Mm-hmm.
Like you were 9 games over 500 4 games ago, and that was showing like a major increase, but it came with like a big caveat that you've got blown out at a bunch of games, and that you don't like. There are nights where you don't take it serious. So where do you go from here, and how do you shake things up without intentionally just again, you don't just shake things up to shake things up. You shake things up because it's not right. Because there's something wrong. There's something missing. There's an ingredient that's not there right now. And some of that ingredient can be that Kevin Huerter regains his form and looks like Kevin Huerter, and all of a sudden this is one of the great offenses again that we've seen. And it's weird that it's one player and that it's Kevin Huerter, but like I was showing you some things, like drawing some things out for you, like why Kevin Huerter maybe struggled and why he didn't get the opportunities, and why it's important that Keegan Murray did, and why, how Keegan Murray is going to be the future of this team, and you have to put time and effort into growing him. But some of the things that he does aren't the same as Kevin Huerter, and the way that Kevin Huerter comes off of that high screen and takes the ball and keeps going around the corner and draws the whole defense out, where Keegan Murray doesn't do that. He stops right there at the pick, turns around and fires. It's a different gravitational pull. It changes things. And I think that like those are things that you got to grow through. You've got to understand that in order for this team to be great down the road, you have to get Keegan Murray up to a certain speed. He has to be able to do certain things. And we're starting to see it happen. But now it's time where Kevin Huerter starts to find himself. It's time where maybe Harrison Barnes starts to find himself, because you got to a certain point where these other guys are starting to fire. Now, can we get the fifth or the sixth piece of the motor going? And I'm not sure, because I still think that there is a lack of defensive acumen on this team, and the only way to address that is by adding a better defensive player.
Yeah. Do you have that diagram that you drew up for me?
Yeah.
Can you show the stream? Just the high level play diagramming that you gave me. You can check this out on youtube.com/ESPN1320. Where is it?
Yeah.
How do I?
So I have it up here. And I'll explain, like, for people who are actually watching this stream. So here's Domantas Sabonis, the X.
At the top of the arc.
Yeah, the top of the arc, right? When I swear it's all backwards. That's the problem. Where you see this is where Herter goes all the way over here to
It's
shoot
like a
his
long
three.
arch away from the handoff.
Yeah, and while that happens, see these arrows, the arrows right here, which again, I'm doing this backwards.
Down near the key and
Yeah.
on the perimeter.
Everybody starts drawing towards that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has this, when he starts going wide off of that, the whole entire team starts to shift over. And the key to that is now the three guys who are on the other side that are all lined up. Because what you're doing is you're weighting the floor. So there are two guys on one side of the floor and three on the other, right? So you're getting these two guys to have this action at the top, the DHO action.
Mm-hmm.
And as that happens, the entire defense starts to move towards those guys because that's what Kevin Herter brings. And what that does is it opens up sort of the backside, the weak side for rebounding. So your crasher has a much easier go, but it also, that's where like Kevin Herter, sometimes he doesn't shoot the ball. Sometimes he takes a couple of big steps and you think he's going to shoot the ball and then he accelerates towards the basket and he drops the ball to Domantas Sabonis for the cut. But the thing is if you're pulling the defense all out that way, it now opens up everything else. And the difference is that Keegan Murray doesn't do that big loop. He likes to come around the top of the pick and then settle in right on the backside of Sabonis and shoot it. And it's very accurate, but it doesn't have the same pull. And so these are some of the things that the Kings are working through.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because everyone is different and everybody likes a pass thrown to them differently in a different spot. Like we had this situation years ago where Marco Bellinelli didn't want to play with Darren Collison because he didn't think Darren Collison threw the pass to him the same way that Rajon Rondo did. And he wanted to be with the starters because he throws the perfect pass to him and Collison doesn't.
Even the starting point guard is better than the backup point guard?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and a guy who, like, if he wouldn't have been a little odd, may have been a Hall of Famer, and Rondo, that he's not going to give you a better pass. Well, like, look, you don't always get to play in the perfect situation with the perfect group of players and all that stuff. So, Kyle, I don't know, why are we like all? Oh, here.
Yeah, I changed it so people could see the diagram better.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I just think it's interesting that like there are so many nuances to what's happening with the Kings, and adjusting to these nuances on the fly is not simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like, oh, well, like when Kevin Herter stops being able to hit a three, it changes a huge dynamic.
Well, and that's why when you're going to put just Chris Duarte.
Yeah.
When you're going to put him as the shooting guard with the starters,
mm-hmm.
It doesn't, that changes so much more than, okay, he can knock down some threes.
Yep.
Like it's not just that thing. So for them to replace Kevin Herter in the starting lineup, and this is where the question comes for me of, hey, is he helping his trade value right now? Or is he becoming an indispensable piece for the Kings? That's why, to me, I'm leaning the direction of becoming more indispensable, which maybe it's both. Maybe a team suddenly looks at Kevin Herter and is willing to give up something more for him that maybe ultimately helps the Kings out. But it's more than just, oh, we'll find somebody else who can hit threes.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But I think the idea of Kevin Herter and what we talk about, this gravitational pull that he has as a player, mm-hmm. as a shooter, right? It matters for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that like there's a track record. Like, and you need to make sure you can trust what you're seeing today and what you saw in large parts of last season versus what you saw in those other parts of last season where he wasn't part of, like, he couldn't hit a shot, or where he was like the last 6 weeks where he really struggled, or where he was in the playoffs, or,
mm-hmm.
Like these are things where you got to make sure, because, he's still young. He's 25 years old. He can grow through a lot of this stuff.
Sure.
But when you're a better team, when Kevin Herter is playing well, for sure. Like, there's no question. I'd even say, like, I haven't looked it up, but I would say if you go back to last season and see games where Kevin Herter scored 20 or more, I almost guarantee the Kings were a much better team. Like, their record was really good when Kevin Herter was on. And so, like, look, I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to, but we're halfway through the season and this team is still searching for their rhythm and sort of their identity. And if one guy can step up and like all of a sudden he can change the identity of the team, then I think you're going to be in a pretty good spot.
So, I don't mean to shoot down your point, but
were they not good?
They were 9-8 when he scored 17 or more, 20 or more. Sorry, there were just 17 games where he did that.
Okay.
Now, if you bump that number up to 25 or more,
so wait, there's only 9 games where he scored more than 17 on the season.
No, I misspoke.
Okay,
it was more than 20. There were 17 games where he scored 20 or more.
Okay, but they're 9.
And there were 9-8 in those games.
Okay.
25 or more, he did that 9 times. They were 7-2.
Yeah.
So I think that's still
when Kevin Huerter's on a heater, you're tough to beat.
When he's Kevin Heater.
Yeah, Kevin, not Huerter, but Heater. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm. There's obvious value there, and I think you see it. It's not a coincidence that we're going, hey, what's wrong with the Kings offense? And at the same time, we're going, all right, hey, what's wrong with the Kings offense? Next segment, why can't Kevin Huerter make a shot?
Yeah,
like those two things very much go hand in hand. But at the same time, there's a bigger picture the Kings have to consider.
Well, I think that's the point, right? It's that sure, Kevin Huerter's had a bad first half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't sugarcoat it. I don't know, maybe there's 8 games where he was good.
Yeah.
And the rest, it was like he had a lot of bad games, right? But there's also this element that in order for this team to take the steps it has to take, Keegan Murray has to become that player. He has to become not the player that draws everybody. He's probably the one guy on this team with the long-term future of being a 20+ per game scorer outside of Fox and Sabonis that has this ceiling that isn't there. And you have to find that ceiling, or at least push and see how far that ceiling is right now, so you can continue to develop this team.
Yeah.
Because if you go into next season and you have a big 3 of Fox, Sabonis, and Murray, and you're still not sure who Murray is, then you're in trouble. If you know who Murray is and he's an 18 point per game scorer this season, which I almost guarantee you by the end of this season, he's going to be really close unless they go out and get a big time offensive weapon. He could very well be like an 18 point per game scorer by the end of this season. Then you know that next season he can average 20 or 21 or 22. And that's where this team starts to really develop their identity of who they are moving forward for like an 8-year playoff run. But for right now, you got to take some bumps and bruises as they try to figure it out. And everyone needs to remember, it wasn't just Kevin Huerter who couldn't hit a 3-ball early in the season. Keegan Murray couldn't either.
Yeah, he really struggled.
He really struggled. And the fact that he's up to, I don't know, 37, 38% at this point is really, really crazy. But like that's what being part of a team is. And that's why, some players are untouchable and some players aren't. And like it's just it's putting all these ingredients together and trying to come out with the right formula is not as simple as throwing a bunch of stuff into a pot and thinking you're making chili and like eventually you hope that all of it simmers together and the flavors mix, but sometimes they don't, and sometimes something's a little off and you got to find something else to put in there to fix it.
So you mentioned Keegan Murray struggles kind of at the beginning of the season, a little bit up and down.
Yeah.
Where he really struggled shooting the 3-ball. So his 3-point percentage is down. It's at 37.2. It was at 41.1 last year. But across the board, his volume is up.
Yep.
His shooting percentage from the field is up. The 3-point percentage is down a bit, but like I said, it was more because of struggles early in the year. From 2, he's way more efficient, 56.6% compared to 52.7 last year.
Way more aggressive at the rim.
Much more aggressive at the rim. He's scoring 16.2 a game compared to 12.2. But to your point, over the last 20 games, Keegan Murray is 18 points, 5.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 51.3% from the field, 41.9% from 3 on 14 field goals and 6 threes a game.
Yeah.
Like that is development. There's a real chance that we look at his overall numbers by the end of this year and it's like, okay, yeah, there was an improvement, but maybe he didn't shoot as well, but whatever. But then if you eliminate that first 20 games or so, you go, oh wow, this is a really good player for most of the season.
Yeah. So October, he shot 34.5% from the field in 3 games.
Yeah.
In November, he shot 26.2% from 3 in 10 games. December, it jumped to 44%, and then he's at 40.4% right now.
Man,
Yeah.
shooting the heck out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He is.
Keegan's gonna be fine. And with Keegan specifically, you mentioned the dribble handoff stuff. If he adds an element of being able to put the ball on the floor,
that's what he's
off the
showing right
dribble
now,
handoff,
man.
yeah.
And all of a sudden he's getting out on the break.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, look, like, that is impressive. Like, what is happening?
He had 8 points last night just by being under the basket.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
No, I mean, he was getting
growth.
out, he was running, and like he's the guy who has the length, the speed, the athleticism to become that next level scorer that they need. And it's great that Kevin Huerter can hit the 3 ball. And you know, again, Harrison Barnes can hit the 3 ball. But at some point you have to invest the time and the energy into developing a player so he can be your next generation.
Yeah. All right. You want to do some NFL picks for the weekend? We got 4 games this weekend.
Sure. I'm worried my computer's about to restart.
Oh.
And they're the best team in football. And look, I'm back.
Hey, there we go. All right, let me get that and get rid of that. All right, there we go. This should be a little more normal. All right, the 49ers and Packers are the second game on Saturday. 5:15 kickoff at Levi Stadium. Who you got?
31-17 Niners.
We got 30-24. So you got the Niners covering. You're taking the points.
Yeah, I am.
All right. I will not. I will take the Packers and the points, but I think the 49ers win. Bucks at Lions. Did the Bucks swing an upset?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
I think they're gonna. I think the Lions might kind of smoke them.
Yeah.
Just where
I'm kind of feeling
the
that
vibe
too.
in there is going to be nuts. Yeah, and I think they're gonna have a really good plan against Todd Bowles, and then Chiefs at Bills. Who do you got?
Oh man. Can you ever bet against Patrick Mahomes? I don't know. You know what? I am. I'm going to say Bills. I'm going to say Bills. They're at home. Josh Allen with his legs has been like incredible. Like he can throw in any weather. I don't love everything that's going on there, and he makes a lot of mistakes. But this is the first time Mahomes has had to go somewhere else for a playoff game.
First ever road playoff game.
It's wild.
It's crazy.
It's wild.
I've got the Bills. I think the Bills get them this year.
Okay.
All right, they're locked in. Let's welcome in Damian Barling of D-Lo and KC for the handoff. How's it going, man?
Good, man.
It's been a hectic day in here.
Yeah, that's all right. Hey, always remember, it's a radio show. If the stream goes down, if the computer blows up, you're still on the radio.
No doubt.
And there's a lot of people listening on the radio.
No, I knew that. I just wasn't 100% sure what I should be doing with my buttons back here.
Well,
yeah,
because I don't think I needed
sounds like
to
a talk
change.
between you and your dad.
I don't. You guys do it. I didn't. Come on.
I don't know what I'm doing back there. That's for sure.
Is there a larger problem with the Kings right now than
yes?
What is it?
No, I don't even know what was going to come in, but there's maybe larger problem. There's a large problem with the Kings for sure.
Yeah. I don't think it's just roster construction and they need to make their free throws. There's something like wrong.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that I liked yesterday, courtesy of James Ham, was Domas at his locker talking about the locker room. And I thought that was an important note, because not that you need that type of reiteration, but like Malik said it last year a couple of times. I'm not going to let us splinter apart. I'm not going to let this happen. We're right there. We need to do a couple of things. Like Malik was kind of that voice a couple of times. Domas said that yesterday, and I thought that was really important, because I probably would have gone in today wondering not if the Sacramento Kings are the Philadelphia Eagles, but like what exactly is going on in there. I disagree a little bit with what you said. They do have a roster construction issue. You're getting nothing from a starter, and that's a problem. As much as I like Harrison Barnes, he can't keep contributing nothing and being a starter.
Sure.
That was compounded by the fact that your bench gave you nothing yesterday. Shout out to Sasha, who scored the first non-Malik Monk bench baskets late in the third. He just steps onto the floor, heaves a three that I swear hit the top of the Golden One Center and went in. And that kind of got him, like he wound up, I think, with seven maybe. Yeah. But that was it.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting from your bench. But this bench used to be extremely reliable. And that is, I think, the crux of the issue. Mike's all in is gone. That's done.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the little, I don't want to say Mike's playing a game, but what he had going on with Kevin Huerter, I thought that was harmful. I think that did far more bad than good. And now it's created this situation. Chris Duarte don't play anymore. Davion Mitchell don't play anymore. Keon Ellis don't play anymore. Like, I don't think you have a fractured locker room, but I think you have a fractured rotation that's not all bought into achieving a goal.
So
I think there are guys in Sacramento Kings uniforms who are waiting for February 9th to get here.
Oh no.
And that's what I mean. That's what I mean by a larger issue than just the roster construction. Yeah, the roster is flawed. The roster is not a championship roster. I don't disagree with any of that. But it's really clear that the way they're losing these games and the way just the vibe is really bad. There's something more than just they're not getting enough from Harrison Barnes. They didn't get enough from the bench. Like there's something at the core there that is.
But I think there's an important distinction, though.
Just the on-court product.
I think there's an important distinction. Is the vibe them or is the vibe us? They're losing games. They know they're losing games. They're trying to correct it. This is something Kenny and I talked about yesterday. We talked about this team's ability to respond, the ability to respond. And I said yesterday, like, are they just going to keep responding? And last night was the first time where it was like, no. And then we drew the parallels last year. They had lost 3 games in a row going into the Indiana Pacers game at the Golden One Center last year. And it was Domas Sabonis who, after the game, said, look, everyone was wrapped up in Indiana and Tyrese and Buddy and all that. That's fine. We couldn't let 3 become 4. Last night, under very, very similar circumstances, 3 became 4. The ability to respond is getting more difficult for them. You've got a Pacers team that plays Kings basketball better than the Kings play it now. And so a larger rooted issue, maybe I don't know what it is though. If the vibe in the locker room isn't bad, I'm gonna put the vibes just on us. We don't feel good. We watch this team play. We see them getting blown out. We see them blowing teams out. We see them falling apart late in the fourth quarter. I don't buy the run in the final 2 minutes worth nothing. That meant, in my mind, the Kings got blown out yesterday.
Yeah.
It was cute. There was no point. Hey, I'm sorry Malik missed those free throws for his brain, for his mental makeup. That's the only reason I care. Because do we believe he was going to make 2, foul, like everything was going to go the Kings' way?
Or
like,
he was going to make one, miss one, get the rebound, put it back.
Yeah,
tie
it's
game,
such
overtime.
No doubt.
over the top
Yeah.
circumstances,
Yeah.
right? So I don't buy anything I saw in the final 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah.
But it did leave me with the question: is why did y'all start playing like that then?
Yeah.
I'd say too, like, hey, the vibe issue. Okay, we got to run. But real quick, like I do feel like a lot of players are not only looking whether they'll be there, but who is gonna be missing, and I think they're feeling that as well.
No doubt. They'll continue this discussion on D'Lo and KC. I'm sure. Stay locked into ESPN 1320 Sacramento Sports later. Bye.